viewers, welcome to our economics presentation. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of econometrics, where we will be unraveling the economic story of Malaysia from 1994 to 2023, unraveling how macroeconomics variable affected our GDP over the years. But first, let's introduce ourselves. These are our group members. Ever wondered what drives the country's economic growth? Well, today we will be diving into it. From FDI, imports, exports, inflation and unemployment. We will be breaking down the factors that affect Malaysia's GDP. In our analysis, we've used some econometrics tools to create a model that tells us a lot about Malaysia's economic dance. FDI talks about foreign direct investment, which is when companies invest directly in Malaysia, fueling economic growth and creating jobs. Imports are the goods and services Malaysia buys from the other countries, affecting the trade imbalance and influencing domestic industries. Exports, on the other hand, are what Malaysia sells abroad, which plays a major role in driving income and supporting industries. Inflation reflects the rate at which prices for goods and services rise, impacting consumers' purchasing power and economic stability. Unemployment shows how many people are not working, and high unemployment generally leads to a decrease in economic output. Using our econometrics tool, we've tested our data, and guess what? Our model holds water. Along the way, we've uncovered some really interesting insights about Malaysia's economy that you won't want to miss. So let's grab our econs tools and take a deep dive into our data. Who's ready? Let's go!
Now we will discuss how the macroeconomic determinants relate to the GDP performance in Malaysia from the year 1994 to 2023. In this assignment, we are going to identify the key factors that affect GDP in Malaysia and investigate the relationship between selected macroeconomic variables and GDP in Malaysia. Wonder why this topic holds such importance? Let me explain it to you right now. The importance of choosing this topic is to analyze the relationship between the gross domestic product with the foreign direct investment, export, import, unemployment rate, and inflation rate, as one of the most critical determinants of a country's economic growth is the GDP. The main purpose of this report is to clearly evaluate the hypothesis regarding Malaysian economic positions and whether it is advantageous to focus on specific factors to drive growth.
To achieve the objective of our assignment, we are doing literature review, explore economics theory from various articles and journals, focusing on identifying independent variables. By analyzing existing research, we will uncover insights that contribute to a deeper understanding of economic dynamics and their implications before developing our econometric model. Despite we have successfully gained relevant data from 1994 until 2023 from reliable resources such as World Bank, Departmental of Statistics Malaysia, the Trading Economics, and Macro Trend. Now, I would like to talk about our first independent variable to GDP of Malaysia, which is foreign direct investment, FDI. FDI contributes significantly to Malaysia's GDP by enhancing economic growth. By attracting foreign capital, Malaysia can develop its infrastructure, industry, and service, leading to an increased productivity and economic diversification. In macroeconomics theory, we assume that FDI have a positive relationship with GDP. Next, we would like to explore our second independent variable, which is export with GDP. Malaysia relies heavily on export to drive the economic growth. A significant portion of Malaysia's GDP is derived from export activity, particularly in sectors such as electronics, palm oil, and natural resources. A strong export performance can lead to increased production, job creation, and overall economic expansion. In microeconomic theories, we assume that export have a positive relationship. Moving on to our third independent variable is import. We assume that import have a positive relationship with GDP from 1994 until 2023. Import play an important role in boosting Malaysia's GDP. It is said that well-being countries usually have high import and large trade, which can contribute to GDP growth indirectly.
Now let's talk about unemployment. High unemployment means fewer people are working, which directly lowers the total output of an economy. This reduces GDP. According to Oken's law, for every 1% increase in unemployment, GDP tends to decrease by about 2%. This relationship highlights the negative impact of higher unemployment on economic output and overall productivity. It all happens because unemployed individuals aren't contributing to production or consumers. In macroeconomics theory, we assume that unemployment have a negative relationship with the GDP. Next, let's dive into how inflation and unemployment impacts the GDP. Inflation, which is when prices rise over time, can affect the economy in different ways. Mild or moderate inflation can actually stimulate economic growth by encouraging consumers and businesses to spend and invest before prices go up. However, when inflation becomes too high, it reduces the purchasing power, discourages investment, and slows down economic growth. In macroeconomics theory, we assume that inflation has a negative relationship with GDP.
After doing some research on economic theory, we have developed an appropriate economic model, which is GDP equal to function, foreign direct investment, export, import, unemployment rate, and inflation rate. GDP acts as a dependent variable, while FDI, export, import, unemployment rate, and inflation rate acts as an independent variable. Next, we have run our data in eViews and successfully developed our econometric model by including slope coefficients, constant and residuals. The dependent variable GDP in the left of the equation, while the independent variables FDI, export, import, unemployment rate, inflation rate at the right. Our econometric model shows that FDI, export, import, and inflation rate have negative relationship with GDP, while unemployment rate have positive relationship with GDP. In addition, we also apply a semi-log functional form to simplify our model by reducing the absolute size of the numbers of the variables and make it easier to figure out the impact in terms of percentage.
In this analysis, several statistical and econometric tests were conducted to validate the regression model, examining Malaysia's GDP and its relationship with macroeconomic variables. The t-test was used to determine the significance of individual slope coefficients. Here is the result we run from e-views. So our H0 is beta k equals to 0, H1 is beta k is not equals to 0. Results shows that export and imports significantly impact GDP at the 5% of significance level, as the p-values is less than 0.05, while FDI, unemployment rate, and inflation rate were not significant, as the p-values is more than 0.05. To evaluate the overall model, the f-test was applied, and here is the results we run from e-views. Our H0 is beta 1 equals to beta 2 equals to beta 3 equals to beta 4 equals to beta 5 equals to 0, and our H1 is not all the slope coefficients are simultaneously 0. We reviewed an F statistics of 231.5362 with a probability of 0, which is smaller than 5% significance level, indicating that the model is significant and the explanatory variables collectively influence GDP. Hence, we reject the null hypothesis. So, there is enough statistical evidence to state that not all the slope coefficients are simultaneously 0. It is overall significance at the 5% significance level.
We have conducted descriptive statistical analysis using e-views. Based on the result obtained from this descriptive statistic, we can observe that loan import has a skewness of negative 0.343571, indicating that the distribution is slightly left skewed but very close to symmetrical. This suggests that the data is approximately normally distributed with no significant outlier or extreme asymmetry. Besides, loan FDI have a skewness of negative 3.294847. This signifies a strong left skew distribution. The values are significantly more concentrated towards the higher end with a very pronounced left tail. Furthermore, the standard deviation of loan unemployment rate is 0.134217, indicates that the values of loan unemployment rate are clustered close to the mean. This means that there are not many extreme outliers or values significantly deviating from the central tendency. On the other hand, inflation has a standard deviation of 1.372679, indicating that the inflation rate in our data fluctuates significantly around the mean. Therefore, it is expected the value to deviate significantly from the average inflation rate.
To test the econometric model meets the CRM assumptions, we have to do some diagnostic tests. First, to test a true model or no specification error in the econometric model, we should use Ramsey reset test. The null hypothesis is the model is not misspecified, and the alternative hypothesis is the model is misspecified. So here's the result that we run from e-views. Test statistics is 1.024697 and the p-value is 0.3219. So since the p-value is greater than 5% significance level, hence we do not reject the null hypothesis. So there is enough statistical evidence to state that model is not specified at 5% significance level. Moving on, we have to use drug Vera test to test whether the residuals are normally distributed or not. The null hypothesis of this test is the residuals are normally distributed, while the alternative hypothesis is the residuals are not normally distributed. Here is the e-views data we run. From the e-views data we run, drug Vera statistics equal to 0.935306 and the p-value equal to 0.626471, which is larger than the significance level of 5%. Hence, we do not reject the null hypothesis. There's enough statistical evidence to state that the residuals are normally distributed, which also means that the residuals have zero population means and the variance equal to population variance. The Durbin-Watson t-test is used to test whether there is a first-order autocorrelation in the regression model or not. The null hypothesis of this test is there is no first-order autocorrelation, p equal to 0, and the alternative hypothesis is there is a first-order autocorrelation, p not equal to 0. Number of explanatory variable, excluding constant term, equal to 5, and equal to 30, dl equal to 1.071, du equal to 1.833, and the d statistic equal to 1.197477, which is falling between du and dl. So we cannot conclude whether the regression model exhibits autocorrelation. Results suggest ambiguity in detecting first-order autocorrelation, emphasizing the need for further investigation or potentially an alternative diagnostic tool. So since the Durbin-Watson test is inconclusive, we have to test a higher-order autocorrelation in regression model. The Birch-Goffrey zero correlation LM test is used to test whether there is a higher order correlation in the regression model or not. The null hypothesis of this test is there is no autocorrelation in the model, P1 equal to P2 equal to P3 equal to Pn equal to 0. The alternative hypothesis is there is a higher order correlation in the model, which is at least one of the P not equal to 0. The result that we run in the e-views. The test statistics is
5.485731 and the p-value is 0.0644. Since the p-value is greater than 0.05, hence we fail to reject the null hypothesis. There's enough statistical evidence to state that there's no autocorrelation in the regression model.
The Y-test was also performed to verify the presence of heteroscedasticity in the regression model. The result shows a test statistics of 14.37835 and a p-value of 0.7041. The p-value exceeded the 5% significance level. Hence, we fail to reject the null hypothesis, confirming that there is no evidence of heteroscedasticity in the model. This supports the presence of homoscedasticity, which aligns with the assumptions of consistent variance across the data. The multicollinearity test was conducted using the variance inflation factor, which also known as VIF, to assess the correlation between independence variables in the regression model. A VIF, which is greater than 10, is generally indicative of several multicollinearity. This result shows that the loan export and loan import had a very high VIF values of 36.89 and also 36.57 respectively, suggesting several multicollinearity between these two variables. However, other variables such as loan FI 1.4, loan UR 1.1, and also loan F 1.34 exhibit a low VIF values, indicating minimal multicollinearity for these factors. Despite the high VIF values for loan export and also loan import, there's no perfect multicollinearity in the model, as all the VIF values were finite. This result implies that while multicollinearity exists, it does not completely compromise the reliability of the regression model. Addressing multicollinearity can further improve the predictions of the coefficients estimates, particularly for the exports and also imports. This analysis has successfully achieved all 7 classical econometric assumptions, ensuring the validity and also the reliability of the regression result. The first assumption is the regression model is linear, is correctly specified, and has an active error term. Second, the error term has a zero population mean. Third, all explanatory variables are uncorrelated with the error term. Number 4, observations of the error term are uncorrelated with each other, which means that no serial correlation. Number 5, the error term has a constant variance, which means that no heteroscedasticity. Number 6, no explanatory variable is a perfect linear function of any other explanatory variables, which means there's no perfect multicollinearity. And the 7 is the error term is normally distributed.
Now that we've analyzed the relationship between Malaysia's GDP and macroeconomic variables like FDI, exports, imports, unemployment, and inflation, let's discuss key recommendations to enhance Malaysia's GDP growth. First, we recommend that Malaysia focus on attracting higher-level foreign direct investments. FDI plays a critical role in enhancing economic productivity through technology transfer, job creation, and infrastructure development. To achieve this, Malaysia can improve the ease of doing business by streamlining regulations. Secondly, offer tax incentives and investment subsidies to attract multinational corporations. And thirdly, target industries such as manufacturing, technology, and renewable energy. Next, infrastructure improvements should be a priority. Developing infrastructures such as the transport system, digital connectivity, and energy networks can enhance Malaysia's competitiveness. This will facilitate smoother trade, reduce business costs, and attract both domestic and foreign investments. Some key initiatives include expanding and modernizing transportation networks like road, railway, and ports, investing in digital infrastructures to promote e-commerce and technology-driven industries, enhancing energy infrastructure to ensure sustainable development. These improvements will create a strong foundation for economic growth by boosting productivity and supporting industries reliant on modern infrastructure. Third recommendation is to strengthen Malaysia's export sector. Exports were found to have a significant impact on GDP, making it essential to maintain and expand Malaysia's global trade presence. Malaysia can achieve this by providing incentives for export-oriented businesses, especially in high-value sectors like electronics and manufacturing. We can also diversify export products and markets to reduce dependency on a single industry or region. Also, through promoting trade agreements to enhance access to global markets. Fourth focus area is addressing unemployment. A high unemployment rate negatively impacts household income and overall economic growth. To reduce unemployment, Malaysia can, firstly, implement skill development and vocational training programs to match workforce skills with market requirements. Secondly, provide incentives to small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, to boost job creation. Thirdly, encourage sectors with high employment potential such as tourism, agriculture, and manufacturing. Finally, monetary policy plays a crucial role in maintaining economic stability. While inflation did not show a strong relationship with GDP, managing inflation is essential for sustainable growth. The central bank can use interest rates to adjustment to control inflation while promoting economic activity, and also ensure price stability to maintain consumer purchasing power, and also at the same time implement policies that balance growth and inflation to avoid economic overheating. Effective monetary policy will help Malaysia strike a balance between inflation control and GDP growth. That's a wrap. By attracting FDI, improving infrastructure, boosting exports, tackling unemployment, and also implementing smart monetary policies, Malaysia has the tools to power up its GDP and drive sustainable growth. These strategies are more than just theories. They are actionable steps that could set Malaysia on a path to becoming a stronger, more competitive economy.
That's all for our group. Bye!